Artemus Toast here, and this is part two in my newest playlist, writing songs. As I said in the previous video, this is how I approach writing songs. Being someone who's not I may be the world's greatest guitarist, magical ears of honey, roadie for 100+ bands, extremely sought after session guitarist, but when it comes to songwriting, I've never been formally trained. So as I discussed in the previous upload, the first in this, series of uploads for this playlist, I've already covered the fact that I stay within 4/4 time, and stick to one tempo per song. What I'm gonna briefly talk about today is, I don't know exactly, what song structure, particular song is gonna contain, when I start it, but, eventually there comes a point where, I provide some structure to the song. There's these are some handwritten things I have, that kind of, help me with song structure. I mean, there's the typical song structures that everybody's familiar with, verse, chorus, middle eight, instrumental, whatever you want to call it, and then typically, maybe a verse variation, but always sticking to the same structure. Some songs will start with a chorus. A good example of that is, Blur's song 2, very popular song. Quite a few songs. There's quite a few Beatles songs that start with a chorus, and just in general, I stick to a formula, and it helps me. Usually upon writing a song, I determine what structure I want it to contain. And once again, from those very common structures, there's many variations. Adding a pre-chorus, an instrumental somewhere in the middle. It's often referred to as maybe a middle eight. A instrument solo, and once again, as I stated previously, variations on some of the, later in the song, variations to a chorus or variations to verses. Once again, these are the disciplines that I stay within. And as I stated on the previous video, and also in this video, I know strong songwriting, education, formal songwriting education. So I don't physically, write music. And as I talked about on the previous video, usually if I write down guitar parts, write the music, it's usually in tablature form. Same goes for bass. Drums themselves, I record drums in a Kai MPK 25. I tap it out, and there's that MIDI grid pattern. So there's that's what it looks like on paper. I don't physically write it on paper, but the end result, the MIDI graph form, and then when it comes to physically writing down the parts of a song, or where certain parts of a song are going to be, or when various instruments are going to come within the song, I typically use graph paper. I basically 1 square per bar, and I usually color code what the instrument track may be, and that certainly helps with the production of it for me, as far as especially when recording the various instruments, if I have one good take of a chorus, one good take of a, guitar part, one good take of anything, it just, should I repeat that part? Should I copy and paste that part? It kind of, using graph paper provides me with a roadmap, where to put it. And like I said previously, I also, color code it, you know, and once again, for someone who hasn't learned how to traditionally write music, it kind of, once again, provides a something to go to, something to help me to construct the music of a song. And then later on, when lyrics are added to it, it also, one square being, one bar. It also, as far as the cadence of the syllables of the song, it also provides me a way to fill that in, to know where to bring stuff in, know where to end stuff. And once again, absolutely no formal music training. So this is something that, using graph paper, definitely helps me. And once again, this series is just, how I, Artemus Toast, not necessarily compose the songs. I'll talk more about that, but basically it's a variation of sheet music that I use, and not even the sheet music itself, or the written music itself, but providing some kind of organization and roadmap, or some way to formally put down on paper, the end track, or the track as I'm working on it, to helps as a reminder, when to come in, when to play, when to, basically helps me edit the final product. But ran on a little bit long in this video, but this is just a new playlist, how I, Artemus Toast, world's greatest guitarist, crafts songs. Stay tuned for more. Subscribe, please. Please subscribe. I upload a video every single day. I got a few different playlists. Once again, Magical Ears of Honey. I do my record reviews, thoughts on various television shows. I've only done one cooking video thus far. I'll do more of those, but could be something different every day. It's entertaining, but subscribe. Artemus Toast out.